Allah is the greatest, Allah is the greatest, Allah is the greatest, Allah is the greatest. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the beneficent, the merciful, master of this day of judgment in which we do now live. Thee alone do we serve, and thee alone do we beseech for thine aid. O Allah, guide us on the right path, not the path of those upon whom thy wrath is brought down upon, nor the path of those who go astray after hearing thy teaching. Say, He, Allah, is one God. Allah is He of whom nothing is independent, but upon whom we all do depend. He begets not, nor is He begotten, and there is none like He. Ameen. May be seated, brothers and sisters. In the name of Allah, who appeared to us in the person of Master Fatimah Muhammad, we thank Almighty God Allah for His coming, and we thank Almighty God Allah for His raising up in our midst the most humble and honorable Elijah Muhammad, the exalted Christ. And we also thank Him for leaving in our midst, or both of them for leaving in our midst, our champion, our brother, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, a man that we all know who loves us, and we love him as well. So I greet you all with the greeting words of peace in paradise. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for being here today. And with this panel, we say it's a panel discussion, but it's bigger than a panel discussion. And it's bigger than a panel discussion because of the person who's the subject of this panel. It's a testimonial panel, is that right? In the book of Revelation, it says that Satan was defeated by the blood of the Lamb and the power of their testimony. All of us have a testimony. All of us have been touched by God's servant in our midst today, and that man is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And we should not be ashamed of sharing our testimony, because when we share our testimony, we are giving life to those as well and letting them know that God has a servant in our midst for the answer to their problems. Is that right? So thank you all, brothers and sisters. And now, before we seat the panelists, I'm going to bring up our brother Rashad Muhammad, and he's going to take us further into the program. And once that, we're going to get right into these questions. Thank you.
In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is indeed His messenger. I'd like to thank you all for coming out and first greet you all with the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. On behalf of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Mother Khadija, and the Farrakhan family, I'd also like to extend to you all the greetings of Assalamu alaikum. And thank you all for coming out. A little nervous. Naturally, I'm in front of the family that most of you have never seen me speak or come before a mic. But I just wanted to share with you all the ideas of what we're doing and why we're doing it, and what we think could come of the idea. What we wanted to do was share with the believing community our heart, our thoughts, and our mind as relates to this man that we have all come to love. And what I believe is that when we truly understand what God has given us in the man, then we'll start to practice the principles and we'll produce the miracles. I think that as we started, we titled it Extraordinary Women. They denied themselves that He may give life and live, that He may live and give life. And the women that we selected were amongst many women that have sacrificed their lives for the cause of Islam in service to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. But as we talk about the extraordinary women of the Nation of Islam, we cannot talk about extraordinary women without talking about the extraordinary woman. And that woman that I speak of is our mother, the mother of the faithful, Mother Khadija Farrakhan. And we are honored to have her here in our presence today as we talk about the man that we have all come to love. But we know that it's her love that has given him to us so that he may raise us to another level and height so that we may become a better people. And there's a scripture Sister shared with me. And as I reflect over it, it says, it's John 8:2-8. It says, when I am lifted up, then you will know that I am He. And you'll know that I do nothing of myself, but what my Father has taught me. I think that when we truly understand what God has given us in the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, we'll see the reality of God. Because as he tells us that his Father has become one with God and sit at the right hand of God, and that God has come to break the cycle of prophets and messengers, then know that he's producing gods. And if we're to recognize the process and how to become one with God, then he has given us an example if we but follow. And the example that I would think would be the greatest example, and that is love. And when we fall in love one with another, then you'll see a different expression in our community. I think what he's offering us is God's love. And as we speak of God's love and think of the man that has given us this love, he said, love ye one another, even as I have loved you. And we all can bear witness of his love for us. But the testament becomes, can we love one another? And what we wanted to do was share the heart, the mind, the soul of a man that dies daily for a people. The women that we have selected, I say, come from a group of women. And this is just the beginning of a panel of those that will come forth to testify of God's gift to us. As I thought of the sisters that we would select, and there were many that came to mind, and we will revisit it and we will call them forth, because there are many that can bear witness to the greatness of this man. But I think about our travels. So as we thought about Sister Fatimah and the journey with the minister and what she has done for our nation, I said if the believers only knew how in debt we are, not only to the Farrakhan families, but the members in particular in their sacrifice, then we would show greater appreciation if we truly love him, because it is their sacrifice that has given him to us, and they're constantly sacrificing. And if you only knew what they go through in their minds and their hearts, and the women that are affected by this man, if you can be with them as they reflect to the God and think over their lives, that they sacrificed their lives to give service to a nation, the pain, the love, you know. And as I look at them, I say, man, I just want the believers to know of them. Because if you know them, you'll know him. And you'll know how they became. And you'll know how we can become. So we selected Sister Mary Alice, Sister Fatimah, Sister Ava, Sister Aisha. These were women that as I came into the nation, I watched sacrifice all that they had. And at any moment, at any call would get up, no matter what the time was, to come and serve. No matter what their practices were, no matter what they did in life. If he called for them to come, they would come, just like many of you. And you will have your day to testify of this greatness of the man. And I just wanted to share that with you and share them as he has shared himself, so you can get a different side of him. So we'll call these women forth and we'll start the panel. But I want you to know that it's just the beginning. It's the beginning. And as they talk about his love, his passion, I tell you, all those that were healed by Jesus, everyone that he healed, he said, you are healed because of your faith, because you believe in me. I tell you, go back and examine your faith. Call to the God and ask him for what you need and what you desire. And if our God does not deliver, then you need to find another. But I know that our God will deliver. And he will send you under, but he will bring you up and over. But I say, call on our God. So I bring these women forth to present them to you so that you may examine their hearts, so that you may see the type of women that he produced and the hearts and the quality of hearts, and know that we all are growing and none of us are whole, but it's stage after stage until we reach our eventual perfection, and know that we will get there. And know that if we judge not, but learn to be patient with one another, then we will see the fulfillment in one another, and we will see the beauty of God. Blessed is he who sees God everywhere that he looks. At this time, we'd like to bring the sisters forward, and we can start the program. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
to you all. I didn't introduce myself. My name is Brother Willie Muhammad. I'm the student minister of Muhammad Mosque number 46 from the city of New Orleans, Louisiana. Praise is due to Allah. And I'll strive to be the moderator of tonight's panel discussion. And thank you all once again for your participation. And if you want to take the microphone off the stand when you respond, you feel free, you can do so. The first question that we're going to start off with the question is, what were your thoughts when you were first asked to participate in this panel discussion, which is themed, The Testimony of Extraordinary Women? They denied themselves so that he may live and give life. So open to the panel, so anyone. Is it on? You got it.
It's on. Okay. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Honestly, when I was a
No, it's
I don't
not.
think that one is on. Just
Here,
use that.
use this one.
Thank you. Very honestly, as I looked at Brother Rashad, I was waiting for him to ask me to assist. I did not consider that perhaps I would be invited to be a part of the panel. And up until maybe 1 minute ago, I kept saying, what is it that I could offer? Of course, the first thing is that anytime we are given an opportunity to bear witness to the man of God in our midst, none of us can say no. None of us can turn down an opportunity to thank Allah for this beautiful man and his great sacrifice. And we all have a story. However, I just could not, for the life of me, understand what it is I could specifically offer, what I could contribute. And so I decided that I was going to listen to what everyone else was going to say, and I was going to say what she said. I know that's what I'm... But it's a wonderful blessing and an opportunity to show our love, gratitude, and appreciation for a man who dies every day for us. So I'm very honored to be here among this wonderful, august body of women and believers, and I'm very humbled and very thankful for the opportunity. But again, I just couldn't figure out why me, but I could figure out why them. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah and that Muhammad is his messenger. I greet you again with the greeting words of peace and paradise. Assalamu alaikum. Like Sister Aisha. Brother Rashad and I go back a long way. Like we were kids growing up, I would say. And when he mentioned to me that he wanted me to be a part of this, I thought I had been punked. You know, like, oh, you got me. You know, but as a daughter, as a nurse, I've sacrificed, but it stays in a room, it stays in the operating room, it stays behind closed doors, and I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna say? I don't have anything to say. I just want to do my job and be left alone, I think. But if I can add anything, I will, but I might ask for Donna to come up here. She's the minister. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaykum salam.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his divine servant. Assalamu alaikum. I got an email from Brother Rashad, and I had a complete misconception of what I was going to be part of. I thought it would be more informal. Looking at you, so beautiful and formal and in this room, and to be in the presence of Mother Khadijah, this is awesome. I feel like I'm at a wedding. But when I saw the flyer and it said they denied themselves, I quickly went through the list of what I denied myself, and everything I denied myself would have ultimately killed me. And so I would not be sitting here anyway. You know, Brother Darius and I talk about the movie Scarface, and you know he sold cocaine. Not that's not what I was going to do.
Right.
This is let me clarify. This is illustrative that the things of this world that people do that look so incredible, which all this world has is materiality. It has nothing else. And so you get engaged in things, and so we watched him, how he sold all these drugs and bought homes and cars and tigers and killed the husband of the woman he lusted after and married her. And within a couple of years, it was all over. And he went out in the worst type of way. And that's what I see this world going through right now. It is in the throes of death. And as I thought back through my life, I thanked Allah for my mother and father, because they're the ones that made the sacrifice for my sisters and I. And I thank Allah that they reared me with a love of truth and a pride and consciousness in being black, so that when the time came that I would be tried, and in my case it was a cancer diagnosis. There are many different ways that the light comes to us, but I am so thankful to Allah that when I first heard Minister Farrakhan, I was in the throes of cancer, so that I would not have to struggle with a dilemma, because I was in the throes of death and he was sunlight, sunshine, and life. And so, no, I just have had nothing but blessings, everything from meeting my husband in the Nation of Islam, the beautiful brothers and sisters. And yes, we have our ups and downs as a believing community, but I wouldn't want to be anywhere else in the world. I can't imagine being happier than being with you.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad is his messenger. I greet my brothers and sisters in the green ways of peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Let me first say, I am extremely nervous.
All of us.
And Mother, part of my nervousness is you. When Brother Rashad and I talked about it, and we agreed on certain things, but when it was said finally that you were going to be here today, I got extremely nervous. But it's like, how could you deny yourself so he can have life? And I know the one that has denied herself completely has been you. When Brother Rashad brought the idea to mind, I had no idea that I was going to be one of the panelists. I was excited. I was like, that's an excellent idea. Because our spirits needs to be uplifted, because I see this man dying every day, but we're still lagging behind. And so if our spirit is lifted, then we can pick up our cross and march on. So he won't have to carry it alone. But when he told me I was going to be in, and it's all set, I've been a wreck ever since. I have not spoken to anyone. I refuse to take phone calls. They say you got a butterfly. I got butterflies. But I'm alone, but yet I'm because to serve this man, along with Mother Khadija, has been the joy of my life. I have walked away from a business, lost my husband in the process. Evidently, he was not the one.
That's right. That's right.
Struggle with my children. But if I had to do it 1,000,000 times over, I would do it. And I'm honored to serve this nation, and this is where I belong.
Powerful, isn't it? Now, this next question came from, it was submitted via email, and I just feel the sincerity in this question, so I'm going to read it exactly how it came. And it says, what makes people cry when they meet this dude? I've seen it a few times, and I've often wondered why he has the effect on people. Dang, this person says, I dang near cried just taking a picture of him from a distance. What is it about him, and have you all cried often in his presence? Anybody can go first.
Well, I've cried in his presence, but I don't think it would be for the same reason you all would be crying. Oh, my word. You know, honestly, when you see someone striving to walk the walk, talk the talk, and do the things that this man has done, it raises the bar so high to the average person. And when you see a person start at one level and God rises him or raises him up right in front of your eyes to another level, you're just in awe of what you're witnessing. So that in and of itself, when you're in awe, you get overwhelmed. Like when you see a basketball player run down the court and jump up and do something that you feel you can't do. You're just in awe, and it's like, whoa, you know. So I've watched him as I've grown up, and I'm like, whoa. And I'm like, God, that's my dad. Wow. You know? Like, but I don't say that out loud. I just go, you know. But all praise is due to Allah. I mean, like I said, I've cried for different reasons. We won't get into that. But I can understand you being overwhelmed in a way, and he touches you in a way that would make you cry. So.
You know, one would think, after having been in the presence of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for years, that at some point that feeling would diminish. It never has. Not one iota, not a centimeter, nothing has diminished. It continues to grow. The first time I was blessed to see the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in person, after having heard his voice on the megaphones and speakers in a town called Jersey City, New Jersey, and they would blast the minister's voice, and I was like, who is this very tall, dark man that I'm listening to? So when I had the opportunity in 1979 to see him, I was pretty much reduced to tears then. The sister who was with me laughed and jumped and screamed and hollered, and that was her way of expressing herself, but I knew I was looking at God. And so when we are around him, I am reduced to a child because I know of the magnitude of this man, and I cannot still wrap my mind around the fact of who he is, and that I have the blessing, the honor the privilege of being in his presence, in the same room with the same air. I'm like, I want to say, do you know who you are? And it touches your heart in such a way because of his love and his mercy. Even in spite of us and all that we come with, he still loves us in such a way that he would like us to love one another. How could you not be in his presence and want to cry because of the mercy that Allah has put on me to allow me to be in his presence? I know I'm still trying to earn it, but I thank Allah for his example in our midst. And I know I see grown men cry, I see children cry, right. And those who meet him in the street for the first time who may not have ever met him, they cry. And I'm looking at them like, I feel you, I understand. It does not get old, I still cry. And I try not to. I say to myself, Aisha, don't you cry. Just say what you have to say. But it is the mercy and the love of Allah walking that causes me to break down when I see him. Even when I sound like I'm not crying, inside I am whimpering because I'm thankful to Allah for allowing me to get up in the morning and be in my right mind and recognize that that is God's presence in our midst.
The minister really has healing power. I've experienced it. I've witnessed people undergo it. And it doesn't require that you have some close, intimate relationship with him. I never have in that sense. I remember the very first time I was in a room alone with the minister, and I stood in the door. This was in New York City, in Brooklyn, in Mosque number 7. And Brother Minister, he was Lynn Wardex then, Minister Abdul Kareem Muhammad, and he said the minister would like to speak with you. Now, my reaction to Minister Farrakhan was that day and to this day, complete and utter immobility and silence. And I stepped inside the door, and he was at a distance. He was at a desk, and he greeted me, and he said, "Are you the sister that wrote the article?" And I said, "Yes, sir." And he said, "Thank you very much." And I backed out of the room. The article was referring to was an assault on his character that was in the Amsterdam News in New York, and I was so infuriated. I had been in the nation about 2 months, and I was so infuriated that I wrote the paper, and then I went to the office and demanded a retraction. Wow. And I said, "If you can't prove it, you better pull it." And I said, "And I want the retraction on the same front page where you printed the defamation." And that has always been my response, because when I first heard Minister Farrakhan, I was on chemotherapy, as many of you know. And for the first time, because Brother Ashad Muhammad said, "You need to tell the story," I had been telling it the last several weeks on WVON. But when I went out with my dear friends, Brother Larry and Sister Barbara, all of us were pretty fresh out of law school. And that night, I was in an audience in New York City of thousands. And he was way at a distance. You almost could barely make out his features, because this was the pre-jumbo screen era. But it was like this light. And he spoke of healing, and he talked about Allah giving us the power to self-heal. Now, because I'm the daughter of a scientist, I had serious issues all my life with the white Jesus, the Holy Ghost, sitting in church. I wasn't feeling none of that. And so I was trying to believe in God. I was having a lot of trouble. I'm from Ohio, show me. You know, where's the logic? Where's the reasoning? And that was the first time since my diagnosis. And I had been on chemotherapy over a year. I was dehydrating. The life was going out of me. And when he spoke those words, it was like a light came on within me. Wow. Like all my cells lit up. And that was on a Friday night. Brother Larry purchased How to Eat to Live. And I read both volumes that weekend. I could not stop. I had never read a book like that, where the print was like it was, the simplicity of the sentences, the confidence of the writer, the authority. And to see a book that a man wrote said, God in person. And I said, this is it. When I saw that name, Master Fatimah Muhammad, it just settled with me. It fit me perfectly. Because I couldn't accept the spook God, but I didn't know who the real God was until then. So it was Minister Louis Farrakhan. The name Farrakhan. I never heard a name like that. So I knew whatever it was I needed, it had to be something different from everything around me, and that was it. And that Monday, I was due for treatment, and I went to the oncologist, the cancer specialist, that day, and I told him I found someone else. Thank you so much. And he said, well, who is it? Who's the other doctor? So I knew, Jewish doctor Rosenthal, who has passed on since then. Wow. But I told him I found someone else, and I immediately began to remove from my diet all of those things that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad put in bold print that he said over and over to eliminate. So crying, I don't recall crying in his presence. I recall many times crying after leaving him and standing on the other side of the door, because you, as my sisters are saying, you think you're doing something. You feel as though you're engaging in work until you come in his presence. And then Allah brings you back to the realization that what you are doing is really nothing in comparison to the gift that Allah is giving you just to receive this word. As Sister Aisha said, it's beyond imagination, the idea that the man knows your name. That you get a phone call, whether it was Sister Liesel, Sister Sophia, Sister Kim, over all these years. Assalamu alaikum. Can you hold for the minister? If you are driving a car, if you are getting on an airplane, wherever you are, everything comes to a halt. Sister, this is Brother Farrakhan. Do you have a moment to take some notes? I have written on walls. I have written on countertops, because the one thing I would never say to him in my life, God forbid, is hold. And that is not because I am a cult follower.
That's right.
I am from Ohio. I am unimpressed by celebrities and all of that, but I know in my heart and in my soul that this is the beloved of Allah and his Christ.
I was thinking, after Sister Fatimah and Sister Aisha spoke, I said, I don't remember crying in this presence. And I said, said, but that wouldn't be right to say it. Sister Ava touched it. And I said, okay, I get it now. There have been many times, even as they're talking about him, just mentioning the minister's name.
That's right.
It makes me full.
That's right.
And I could never understand all these years. And this is, I have a bone to pick with Brother Rashad. He knows that about me, and he'll do things. Ask questions. The next thing you know, I'm just like pulling out and asking myself, what is it about this man? I know, I can't say I know exactly what it is, but I know there's a certain magnetic field. His magnetic field is very strong. I can say for those who cry in his presence, that's probably what they feel.
Right.
Because when I'm in that field, I'm like really dumbfounded, stupid. I see the craziest things. And to lighten it up, they'll make joke about me and say things and I'll laugh. But whenever I'm by myself, just the thought of that man, tears. Sometimes I'm by myself and I'm cooking and he'll come, Mary, don't add no more salt to my food. It's a certain fulfillment. And I still can't explain it, and I'm asking the question, what is it about him? So I'll have to agree with Sister Ava. It is the spirit of Allah that dwells in a man. Though he's a man like everyone else, but there's something special, extraordinary about this man. And it's hard to put words.
Yes, ma'am.
There are no words in the English language, maybe in Arabic. But since I don't speak Arabic, so I'll have to say I'm lost for words. But I know the emotions. The emotions are real. And when I see this man giving so much of himself, you know, a lot of people are a certain way on the outside, but behind closed doors, as you would say, when they let their hair down, they're a different human being. I've seen this man the same way.
Teach it.
Outside, inside, in his best moment, in his worst moment, and I could never take the spirit of Allah away from that.
That's right.
So that's the only best way I can explain it.
Yes.
So for those who cry, they feel in the presence of Allah.
Yes, that's what.
Beautiful. Thank you all. Sister Fatimah, this next question is for you. Says, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has shared with the believers and the public his near-death experience and the words spoken by him at that time. Can you share with us what you remember about that moment? What thoughts came to your mind as you heard him express gratitude and thanks to Allah, and the impact it had on your own personal faith?
Thank you. Well, I think I'm in a unique or place to even be able to comment on something of that magnitude. I think in that time frame, I had on my nurse's cap. And watching him suffer, he's been very graphic as he talks about his near-death experience. And I'm like, you don't have to share that with people. You know, that's too much, you know. But he's very graphic about his experiences, and he lets you in on personal parts of himself that most people would close the door in your face on. So with that in mind, I'm sure nothing is probably off limits, but still, to see large clots of blood, him losing baseball size clots of blood hemorrhaging to death, and with each pain that he felt, he would be, oh Allah, oh Allah. And, you know, it's, I don't know. For me, sometimes now when I hear the words, oh Allah, it doesn't even have the same Excuse me.
Take your time.
Sometimes that's a place you don't want to go back to. Because when you see a man in the grips of death like that, and his words are, oh Allah, whatever you want, Allah, whatever your will is, Allah. And I'm like, no, Daddy, fight, like, get the blood. And, I'm just in nurse mode. I'm like, I'm not letting you go. I'm not ready. So, I was running down the hall getting blood, and he was hemorrhaging to death. And we turned him in Trendelenburg position, which is where your legs are higher than your head, so that the last blood that was left in his body would rush to the most important organs and the brain so that he could still be alive. But he had lost so much blood. And all he kept saying, if it's your will, Allah, I'm ready. And every day I see him struggle for us, our salvation. And he's so unselfish. I mean, sometimes I'm angry, to be honest with you. Because I look at us and I don't have such nice words, really. Thank Allah he didn't pick me, because I'm not the one.
That's all of us.
Because when you sacrifice on a daily basis, I mean, he's been in this work since his early 20s. And working all the way up to, tomorrow is going to be his birthday. He's going to be 81. Praise be to Allah. If it be the will of Allah. So I'll stand up for that one. Thank you. But what I can say is, with every ounce of his breath, with every piece of strength that he has, he's in constant prayer with his God, in constant reflection of God. And that's what I witnessed as his daughter and as his nurse. And I'm freaking out, but in a different way, but it just makes me think, wow, I mean, I don't know. When I thought on it, I can't even begin to express to you what I've witnessed, what I've seen, what I've been a part of, because I get so choked up. He's something else.
Thank you. Thank you, sister. That's right. Sister Ava, this next question is for you. At one time, you worked as a prosecutor in the city of New York, right?
Yes, sir.
And to be in such a position, it requires one to be able to assess the character of people, and one must have the ability to ascertain truth. In your years of being a student of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, can you share with us what you have seen of his character and his love for truth?
You can only pull excerpts from your mind, because there's so much, as we just heard from Sister Fatimah. And if you look at the four of us, we're such we're aspects of his life, and this is why, if we understand a light-giving son, truly he is that. If you study every character trait of the Son itself, he possesses that trait. He alone possesses that trait. And as the Holy Quran has the surah, the scatterers, we can all be and are and must be stars, like the billions of stars in the sky, carrying his light. But those stars do not have life-giving power. All we can do is guide others, like starlight does, to the sun.
That's right.
It's only from the sun that you get life, light and heat and vitamins. And this is what I feel in terms of witnessing the minister, most of the time working with him in, he's in ultimate teaching mode. Like Sister Mary Alice said, being around him over 30 years, I have never seen him any other way except gracious, elegant. I know of no one with the command of language that I've ever heard, ever, on this earth that he has. But more profound than that is his heart. And I'm going to give you an example. When the newspaper article came out, after the minister had announced the Million Man March, and the New York Post on a Saturday came out with a headline, "Widow of Malcolm pins murder on Farrakhan." And of course, who caught that article but Brother Jabril? And he faxed it to the National House. And a few of us got a call, and we met at the National House on a Saturday night. Now, I'm an attorney, as you noted, a prosecutor, and then defense bar. And I can tell you that I have never known a more profound, efficient lawyer than Minister Farrakhan. Strategic, tactical, it is utterly stunning. But the difference between him and every other brilliant lawyer is the heart. He said something that absolutely blew me away. As he, like we laid out a battle plan of how we were going to deal with the New York Post. Of course, the nation did not have anything close to the financial resources to come up against these Jewish firms. But of course, we have Allah and his Christ. But the minister said, when we were laying out the plan, and of course, one of the most difficult cases you can litigate is defamation as the plaintiff, because all the laws are written in favor of the media, because the media controls the courts and lobbies and has laws. So when we were talking about the defendants that we would name, the minister had a look on his face. You know how he listens when people are talking? And he listens to every single word that people say, not like us where we're just waiting for them to stop so we can fire back. He's actually processing and absorbing and taking to heart what he's hearing. So he's listening to everybody. So then he said, I want you to file a lawsuit against the New York Post. He said to me, you fly into New York. He said, have Brother Arif come in and meet you. Call him, but don't tell him why. Just tell him to meet you up there. He said, I don't want anybody to know about this, so I don't want any telephone conversations. And this is what blew me away. He said, do not sue Sister Betty. Now, you listen to me good. In the whole annals of legal history, there is no such thing as filing a defamation case and giving the speaker a pass. It's not done. That case changed legal history in many ways, is yet to be known. But that's the first of them. When we went into New York that Tuesday and filed that suit is one of the first suits you'll see in history for multi-billion dollars. Now everybody does it. They made mockery of us at the time. When we stepped out, the press was out there. They were gleeful because the objective was a war between the family of Malcolm X and the black people who loved Malcolm and the Nation of Islam, with the goal of derailing the Million Man March. So the press was out in full force. And when we passed out copies of that lawsuit and Betty Shaba's name was not in that box, you literally could see their faces collapse.
Allahu Akbar.
And so that is just one small example of how there is no way this man is not directly guided by Allah in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, because you cannot gain that type of capability to maneuver through the minefields of Satan, whom the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, we can't fathom the depths of Satan, and yet they cannot calculate how to defeat Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Beautiful. All right, Sister Aisha, this next question is for you. You are currently overseeing the Nation of Islam's use of the technology known as Dynetics, which is offered by the Church of Scientology. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has come under criticism and scrutiny by some within and from without the Nation of Islam. They charged the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as deviating from the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Can you share with us what you have personally witnessed about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's adherence and commitment to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Thank you for the question. And since you said my name, I guess I have to answer. You know, what's very interesting when we hear about the Church of Scientology and we hear about the term Dianetics, it sounds very foreign to us, and particularly to black people. So we think that when we hear that term, those words, that it is different from the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and it is not. So when we go back and look at the minister's words, and we pull up old tapes, new tapes, study guides, read Message to the Black Man, everything bears witness to what he already gave us. Sure. So it's not different. It's a language that often confuses us. So his adherence, he is the example. And were it not for him, we wouldn't even know what the teachings were supposed to look like.
Say that.
So it really takes, as the minister would say, unmitigated gall to determine that he, in fact, has deviated and he's off the path of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I was very fortunate to be allowed to visit the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan once during one of his hospitalizations. And while he was just trying to get his strength back, he said to those of us who were there, I want you to study the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and I want you to look at his words so that if I deviate, you will know that I have gone off the path. And I'm looking at him honestly like, really? You know, everything I know you gave me. And everything you give me bears witness to what he said. So it's very simple. When you look at us, people say, oh, I see the old man's teaching is back. Why? Because it's in the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He's not deviated. He has excelled and he has gone farther because he is receiving divine revelation. So I'm not confused. I hope that all of us would understand that there is no deviation.
That's right.
He is adhering 1,000%. And as a matter of fact, I recall being at the table with our beloved minister, and the question was asked regarding artificial insemination. And the minister thought about the question, and he stopped. And he said, I don't hear my Father's voice on this. And I don't speak if I don't hear his voice. And I don't go basically where his foot has not gone. Wow. So I'm not going to rush to answer that question. I'm going to think and reflect on him. Wow. So that's my response to that question.
Oh, praises be to Allah. Very good. Thank you. All right. So Sister Mariella, you know this next question is coming to you, right? Many have not, as you mentioned earlier, many have not had the chance to see the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in private settings away from the public. However, you who serve as one of his cooks have witnessed various people dine with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan from all over the world and from different races. Can you share with us what you have seen and how the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan handles his guests at the dinner table and even those who may not like him?
Excellent.
This is an excellent example of why I work every day without complaining, no matter how many hours, for a man that I see a heart, that has a heart that I can't even size it up. I don't have the measuring yardstick to measure that. I've seen people come to his table that have vilified him, think ill of him, and yet when they come to his table, they are treated as royalty. And sometimes I have a hard time dealing with that. But when I looked at him and see how he behaves, and I have no choice. I said, if I love this man and respect him, then I have no choice but to treat his guests as he has treated them. And one prime example was Fatimah Muhammad. I've sat at Harvard University listening to a lecture of his, and he strayed away from his subject matter, and he made Farrakhan bashing his subject matter. And I disliked that man from that point on. But yet he came to the farm at the minister's request, and the minister treated him like this long-lost brother. Wow. I went in the bathroom and I wept, literally, because I couldn't believe. I said, who does this?
Right.
And the way he treated the man, because he gave me the green and I barely answered. But in the course of the day, how the minister genuinely treated this man, I said, you are no better than this man. So you can't take up a fight against this man that he has not taken with his brother.
Wow.
So I had to change my mindset and started receiving and serving this man in the same manner that I served the minister. If I don't do anything else, if this does not bring anything else, I was extremely nervous. One brother called me and he said, listen, don't let the nerves bother you. Just look at it as though you're given. I can't give you anything that I have not received. And that helped me, that helped settle some of the nerves. If nothing else, I'm saying to all of us, as believers, black people, and people all over the world, you have a genuine brother. That's right. In this man. And he forgives all the time. Beyond reason, that we think beyond reasoning. But I guarantee you, if you take the time and be patient enough and ask Allah for patience, you will see in due time why he does what he does.
Go ahead.
But this man, I'm telling you, it behooves us to rally behind this man and do all that we can, because he said the work, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught him, that the work of the believers is never wasted. And don't hold your hand back, because you following someone who gives more than of himself. And that's from behind closed doors. He is genuine as genuine can be. And I've seen him in moments where I said, oh my God, who does this?
Me too, yeah.
Who does this? Just as recent as 3 days ago, someone called him, I won't name the brother, who we all know has been like a thorn on his side, and he has showed himself, and we won't talk about what himself was. But at the end of the conversation, he told the minister, I love you. And the reason I knew that's what he said, the minister said, I love you more. And all I could say is, what a friend we have in Jesus.
Wow. Well, now, you know, Allah is really using you all, because they can tell that they didn't get the questions, and you all have already answered questions that we were planning to ask. Right to it.
So you can skip over.
No, we still have more. Now, I'm glad you ended on that point, because this is a question that came from, it was sent to us via email. It says, why do you all keep comparing this man Farrakhan to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ? I think it's so disrespectful, but I am interested in hearing it from the perspective of these women. Thank you. So it's open to the table. Guess whoever wants to go. Go ahead.
For me,
Yes.
I don't compare him. I don't compare him to, quote, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. He is my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I never knew one other than him before him.
Beautiful answer.
There is no comparison being made.
Beautiful. Anybody else want to add?
On that note, I'm glad we're having this minor discussion, because you do not want, when the time comes, the question will be asked, where were you when they crucified my Lord? If you ever had any cloud in your mind, let you leave this room clear that I'd rather be at the end and know that I wasn't one of those that vilified him and he wasn't that, than to know that he's all that and then some, and you were one of those that sat at the sideline, didn't do anything.
Beautiful.
I pray, I don't believe this is any coincidence. Sister Ava, you spoke on that a long time ago. You said there is no coincidence in Islam. This was called for. It was meant to be. We're at a crossroad where we have to make a decision. And the decision has to be which side you want to be on. There's no more time to fiddle, straddle the fences. Either this man is or he isn't. And if he isn't for you, then bow out. But if he is, let's come together. He is the missing link. We're all a bunch of links, but he's the claps that put it all together. He's the thread that put all the pearls together. We have it in us. But I want to share that with you all and with myself, that I don't want to be on the sideline watching and have to answer a question that I have no answer for. So please, let this be the beginning of a new dawn where we leave from here as brothers and sisters and love one another as he has loved us and still loving us.
That's right.
Anyone else want to answer?
You know, I like Sister Ava. When I grew up, I had a big challenge in the church. I was the one that they didn't want to ask any questions because they didn't have an answer for me. You know, it's very interesting that what everyone says is absolutely true, but the Jesus, the historical Jesus that I used to read about and not understand, I really didn't know what I was reading, and it was making me more confused. But the man that we are coming to know, and we're blessed to see, that what I read of that Jesus pales in comparison to the man that we see in our midst today. The things that he is able to accomplish, his character, his spirit, his morality, nothing that I read growing up compares to what I'm witnessing today. When I was blessed some years ago, and I say blessed, to get through a very difficult time when my husband at the time, Wazir, passed, may Allah be pleased with him. It was the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan who made sure that I didn't have want, that I didn't need anything, that he cared for me. And I didn't have to worry, and I know that I'm one of many, many, many thousands, and there are many that he has taken care of, and we don't know anything about that. He feeds and clothes and shelters them and sends their children to college and takes care of their bills and their medical expenses, and he gives life to the dead, and he causes the blind to see and the deaf to hear. He does it all and then some, exponentially. So he does not compare for me to what I read about, because I am still in awe every day that I am blessed to be in the presence of the man of God who is the vicegerent of Christ in our midst.
I think all I have to say is ditto, ditto, ditto. But in honesty and fairness, you know, when you think of God, you think of love, you think of mercy, at least maybe I do. But he has been the extreme example of love and mercy. I'm not into titles. Jesus, God. I'm not into any of that, because I don't think anyone really knows your title unless God himself says this is your title. So I don't get off into titles or anything like that. I just say, you know, for us, let's just be found doing the work. And for him, I can say, one thing I do know is he is an extraordinary man and has extreme love, extreme mercy that I've never seen from anyone else. Ever. Ever.
That's right.
Seriously, ever. So,
Don't put it down. The next question is for you as well. The next question is for you. The question is, what has been some of the joys of growing up being a child of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan? That's one of the questions.
are you kidding?
That's what's
Joy, huh?
joys.
Joy. Joy? Not the challenges, joy. Joy. Really, I'm stunned. The joy of being Minister. Wow. Is joy sacrifice then?
However you want to respond to it.
Okay, because then I could say the family, I don't know, myself, we sacrifice so that the world could have him. So the joy is, I guess, seeing his ascension. It's not a personal joy, like, woohoo, you know, like, because with sacrifice comes pain. So joy has a different meaning for me.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Sister Ava, this next question is for you. This is a question that was emailed as well. It says, why is it necessary for him to keep attacking the Jewish community? What benefit has it had for him and the NOI or black folks? What will this do for the liberation of our people? I mean, really, get over it. That's the question.
And so, right after the plot to derail the Million Man March by using Sister Betty Shabazz failed, the Jews went against the child. This time it was Kabila Shabazz, just shortly thereafter. She was arrested and charged with plotting to assassinate the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, based on a young Jewish male who was an informant. And once again, as all of the sisters here have testified to, the immeasurable and even stunning level of love that this human being has in his heart for us, once again defeated the plan of Satan. I say to this sad individual, because oftentimes we hide, as Minister Farrakhan has taught us, we use virtue to cover a vice. Many Negroes who suffer from fear of the slave master's children and don't want to stand up in the fullness of time, the very so-called Christians who know that in Genesis, God promised Abraham of this day. Now that this day is here, they are afraid, they are spineless. They don't want to confront the truth of the presence of the enemy, and so they use the virtue of love and patience to hide the vice of cowardice. And so they accuse a man, just as Jesus battled the Jews throughout the Bible. Now, any so-called Christian knows that not once or twice, but pervasive throughout the ministry of Jesus were the Jews. The godless Jews who hated him because he brought the message of the oneness of God and the promise of the kingdom. The Jews have attacked Minister Farrakhan relentlessly for 30 years. We were quietly building a nation. Right over there in the final call, quietly trying to uplift the downtrodden.
That's right.
I have never seen a Jew in the black community inviting any black person to Judaism.
Never.
Inviting any black person to know the Torah. The only time the Jews have ever been present among us is to open their outposts, their retail stores, to sell us damaged, cheap goods, marked up against the price. They were down there in the cotton fields in the Mississippi Delta teaching the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants who were too stupid to keep us in check after the end of the Civil War. It was the Jews that have taught the white man all the way up to the NBA right now. A modern day microcosm of a plantation. Minister Farrakhan, contrary to this idea, he attacks them. He is Allah's weapon against them as a light-giving sun. He is exposing them. He is making them known, because through the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that only he is bringing,
That's right.
we will be freed of this blood-sucking parasite, so they will no longer be able to sell us alcohol, drugs, depraved sex, and every other type of low-life thing that is keeping us from a hereafter.
That's right.
Woo. All praises to Allah.
Yeah.
They need to get over it.
Okay. We have 3 more questions, and then we'll take some questions from the. We have 3 more questions, and then we'll take some more from the floor, and we'll begin to start closing out. Sister Aisha, this one is to you. Yes. Says, prior to serving as the NOI Dianetic Coordinator, you served as the National MGT Captain, where you were responsible for the teaching and training of the female members in the Nation of Islam. Can you share with us a bit, bear witness, give testimony of what you've seen of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's great respect for the woman?
I think it would be fair to say that all of us can bear witness to that.
Right. And you all can if you want to as well.
I mean, everyone in this room
That's right.
can bear witness to that. You know, Sister Ava and I were having a conversation about 2 weeks ago or so, and I was telling her, I can see why you're going. I still can't figure out why I'm going. I mean, I would like to be there and support whatever it is you all say. And I said, contrary to popular belief, the 13 plus years that I served as the student national MGT captain, I wasn't with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan every day. Brother Ishmael will bear me witness. We didn't see him very often. And it was really toward the end of my service in that particular office that we were blessed in that last year or so to spend time with him days in and days out. The other day, I thought I was looking for one thing, and I came upon a crate of all of the journals of all of the notes that I was blessed to keep of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's instructions to me and to us on the instruction and the care of the women. And I was just reading through every single word. I tried not to miss a comma or anything. And I'm reading through his words to us and his instruction to me and to us at the table, and I hear his voice. And so the beauty of our beloved minister, that his love and respect for us is so great, and we know that he is the head of our class, Sister Sandy, that he hardly ever came to his class, but he gave us a great responsibility. And Sister Karima was the former regional captain in the East Coast as well, and she's blessed to be with us today. We're glad to have her. We were learning of him, and because we were learning of him, we took what little that we could get, which was powerful, and it could carry us if we never saw him again. We still had what he gave us. Because of his love for us, he imposed that on us. In closing the gap, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, I don't want to say imposed, he helped to impress that on us. It was not an imposition at all. But in closing the gap, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan speaks of his love of black women that was given to him by his mother. And we see him, and we see how he interacts with us, and he is so respectful, even though we owe him our very lives and we belong to him. He's never, ever been anything but the best example of humility, grace, mercy, and his manners are impeccable. So, you know, when you see him in any setting at any time, he always is the example. And so I've always tried to take all the jewels of wisdom that he gave to me, knowing that I might not see him again or hear from him for a very, very long time. And this should carry us over. And being in his presence, it would be very difficult not to love the women that he loves. And I say this with all sincerity, and Allah knows, and he is my perfect witness. I was asked recently during a self-analysis session if I could recall at any time someone that I do not like being in my presence. And I reflected on the MGT, and I reflected first on the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And I'm thinking, how could you not like or love any of us when you've been blessed to sit under him? He is the ultimate example of love. And there is no room for us to be anything but loving. And I honestly could not recall. Now, I could recall incidents where people did things that I know that I did not like. But I could not recall one person, and that auditor is here today, she can bear me witness, that I could say I didn't like because I kept reflecting on him. I've never heard him at any time, privately or otherwise, talk about his dislike of anyone.
Never.
Not at any moment or any time. He never, even behind closed doors, said, okay, look, I don't like such and such, so I want you to do this, that, and the other by them. At no point. There was a man, Sister Mary Alice, and a few of you will bear witness, that we knew did not like the minister. And he came to the table and he fell in the pond.
Oh, yeah.
And the minister, he was very gracious and he still was respectful. But, you know, some of us was thinking, good, you know, you should have fell in there. But the minister still, in spite of the fact that people say and do what they do, he knows that we just don't understand. Wow. And he helps us to see through his eyes. If we keep following in his footsteps, we'll have to love like he loves. Wow. So, I mean, I don't have anything to say other than the fact that I have never seen such a man like this. And I am so fortunate to be able to bear witness to the graciousness of this beautiful man of God, the beloved of Allah, in our midst today.
Thank you. Sister Mary Ellis, this is for you. Says, in searching for the images of you that we wanted to use for the promotional flyer, we came across a picture of you in the cookbook that was used to raise funds for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's prostate cancer awareness campaign. Your expression in that picture to me showed your love for cooking. How does it make you feel to know that you are using what you love to do to serve Allah's servant in our midst?
I'm still wrapping my mind around it. I didn't set out in life to be a cook. I wanted to be a doctor. I didn't have enough support. I entered college as a pre-med student, but somehow I kept straying away. And I took a job just to have enough money to pay for my books and for my lab's supplies. And they kept promoting me, and that's how I ended up in the food business. I started off as just a cashier. I said, I just want to be a cashier so I can continue with school since I had to pay my own way. But they kept promoting me. Eventually, I became the manager of that store. Still, I didn't think cooking was my thing. Food business was not. It was just medicine. But when they made me the sole manager of that store, which was in the downtown area of Boston, a very racist town at that time, probably still is, and being a black female, it was a challenge. But Allah has blessed me to weather those challenges and had the best store, the best running store, the most profitable store in the company. And at that point, I said, well, maybe I need to put medicine to the side and go to a business college and get some real business skills so I can properly run this store. So I switched over, and again, as they start having event, I start bringing meals, and mine was always the best dressed, the most elaborate. My friend kept telling me I should go into catering. Did that, went on, and put medicine to the side completely and opened my own restaurant through catering. I still didn't think that cooking was my thing. I just did it. But it didn't dawn on me how much I loved it until I came and started serving the minister and his family. I would get in that kitchen. It didn't matter what time of day. And it ended no matter what time of day. And I would be zoned out. Then I started buying books on health and herbs and what they do, not just for the food, but for what they do for the body. And my children say, Mom, you're still a doctor. That's right. You just... But I would say it's serving the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and Mother Khadijah and his family that has shown me my love for cooking. That was never my strength. That was never my thought. But now I get in it, I don't see no other way. And to know that the magnitude of this man, that I have a little something to do with his health. Yeah. And when I see him standing and be as bold as the boldest black man, the boldest man on earth. And I will look at him, I will leave him, make breakfast or coffee or what have you. That morning, up until the time he leaves, I'm giving him his last bottle of water. I would go to the venue and see him speak. And it's like it's as if I've never seen him before. And I would look at him and I would like, oh my God. And then I just finished giving him a bottle of water. I gave him his breakfast. Oh Allah. And I would pinch myself. Wow. And so that's when I said, okay, what is my purpose in life? And this is what my purpose in life is, which I'm beginning to wrap my mind around it. I said, oh Allah, do I deserve this? And every day, I find myself recommitting to Allah to serve his man and his family. And so it's no longer a job. It's not a job. It was never a job, actually. Life purpose. It's a purpose, and I'm beginning to find that. And so in cooking for the minister, I don't see it cooking. I see it as been serving, helping him to stay strong so he could fight Satan.
Thank you. And this is the last question. All of the panel can respond to this, and we'll take a few questions from the audience. This was emailed to us. It says, or it asks us, do you all think our lack of doing forums such as this and being more public in our testimony has aided the enemy in tarnishing the character of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan?
Absolutely. You know, I was out riding my bike the other day, and I ran into a neighbor of mine who's actually been my neighbor for 19 years, and I never met him. And he's always walking, and I'm always driving. So I stopped, and I said, what is your name? And we talked, and of course I had to say, do you know who the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is? And he said, with his cigarette in hand, that is a great man. Now, he had been holding his cigarette for about 10 minutes, so he had to turn around and, get a puff at the thought of the name that I just mentioned, and he just shook his head, and I said, he's greater than you think he is. I said, and even though he never met you, I know that he loves you. We don't have an opportunity oftentimes to do this publicly, but every time we talk to our people, we have an opportunity to bear witness to the majesty of this man in our midst. You know, there are more people than we could ever know who have a story to testify to their own personal experience, or for those who sat in an audience, Sister Ava, who were healed by him. I was in an emergency room maybe about 7 years ago. I had a reaction to something, and I had these terrible chest, I don't know if it was palpitations, it was something going on. And Sister Sophia at the time, of course, my husband called to inform the minister, and I know that he prayed for me, because immediately thereafter, every test showed that I was fine, and I know that I was healed. So that's me personally, but I'm healed every day because he still allows me to do this and finds utility in me. Even though we don't necessarily think a lot of ourselves, all of us have a story. Every one of us has a testimony. And if we were able to do this, more people would learn of him through us. There was a sister who was dying, and they counted her out pretty much. She had everything you can imagine. And because of the minister's love of us, and he never met her, he wanted to go see her. And I know many of us can tell a story like this. Wow. And he went and he held her hand and he talked to her. And each of us were in the room and he prayed with her. And that was maybe about 5 years ago. That sister is walking and talking and moving, has grandchildren. But we should take every opportunity to confront the fear, to talk about this man,
That's
the
right.
beloved of Allah. Sometimes we feel like people may not want to hear it, they don't understand, but how will they learn of him if we don't take the opportunity to share with them what they know not? That people are ignorant. They don't know about him. So they say things, disparaging comments about this man because they don't know his character. They don't know anything about his beneficence and his mercy. But they, if we could just let them in on that small part, they will learn about the bigger truth. So I think that every opportunity that we have, we should take the time to throw away our fears and to bear witness, whether we say hallelujah, sha-la-la-la-la, or just tell the truth about this man that we know is the mercy of Allah in our midst.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anyone else would like to respond to that question? That's it. All right, so we'll now begin to start taking questions from the audience. Do we have the microphone, Brother Dwayne? Anyone? Have a hand in the back?
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Brother Remy, and I have a question. In your journey with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, if there was one thing that you wish you would have had that would have made it a little bit easier for you walking with him, what would it have been?
I would say more money. More money to be able to travel the highways and byways of this country and the world to get people acquainted to the greatness of God in our midst, an embodiment of a human being. That's what I would want.
I would like more money. Who wouldn't? So I could give it to him. I often see these signs about, mega millions, and I think, if I had that,
Yes, I've had
what
ideas
would I
too.
give the minister? I wouldn't know what to do with it. I would have to give it to him because he has sacrificed and he knows exactly what we need. I would be a fool with that kind of money. But that's one thing, but not for me personally. I would like to live more comfortably, but it's all about him. If he's happy, when he smiles, then we're happy. But I would say humility, because initially, when you're new in Islam, and I'm always new and I'm still learning, and I read of the words that he shared with us, and I think about the fact that he said humility has to couple the love. And I say that because if I reflect on some of the decisions that I made, I think humility wasn't always present. And so I can say that honestly, You know, we say, well, I've been in the nation 40 years. Well, I've been in 35 years. It doesn't mean I've been a Muslim 35 years.
That's right.
It means I've been registered 35 years.
Good point.
So, honestly, I would have to say perhaps humility.
I would have to say patience. Because it's hard living with a man that you see sacrifice every day, every moment for us, and the kindness that he shows others when I feel they don't deserve it. So I'm like, you know, you have an army, why don't you just kill them? You know? When I was younger. When I was younger. But, you know, it's funny, and I think it's more hurtful when you see your own black people vilifying the very person that would give his last breath for them. So, as his daughter, when I witnessed this, I don't have that patience. Allah didn't make me like he made him, because he will just keep taking and rolling with the punches and going with it, and I'm ready to pick up my sword. So I think it would be easier for me to digest what I see if I had patience.
I am so in the moment. It's very difficult to have any retrospective view, because I feel so strongly that everything has moved in Allah's way and according to his plan. But I do want to say this for myself and all of us, and the sisters have alluded to it. Now is the time. We have got to get a grip on the reality of who we are as individuals. And that, above all, I was reading some sayings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and one of the things he said is that the greatest fault that he finds among the Muslims is idle talk. And I thought about the brown germ and the fact it had no function is what led to such a monumental, horrendous act of rebellion that resulted in planetary, as one sister wrote, displacement, and threw the entire solar system off. We have got, and listen to Sister Mary Alice say, I wanted to be a doctor, but she continued to follow the path, and now she is a doctor, but a doctor of the New World Order.
That's right.
I never wanted to be a minister. Never. I know, it doesn't seem like it, but I had never had any desire, then or now, to be a minister. It just never. I wanted to be a surgeon.
You doing that?
Then, I always wanted to, and I saw it through Mary Alice that I am doing it, because I always wanted to put the sick person on the table and open them up, go down in there and pull that mammy jammy up out of there and say, I got it. You're okay now. We found it. We found the enemy. And and so now I realize that that's what I'm being allowed to do, is to go right after the root cause of the problem. Well, that Mary Alice, myself, Sister Fatimah, Sister Aisha, but every one of us in this room and all of the literally millions that were born to be with him, we have got to come into our own.
That's right.
We have got to now, as he has taught us, we can manifest perfection in our sphere. We're not perfect people, but we all have some of Allah's attributes in a combination that when we do what we were born to do, when people experience us doing it, it is the same as Allah doing it. It is perfect. As Sister Fatimah talked about why we love seeing the championship, the NBA. When you see someone achieve mastery in their sphere, when you see Mother Khadijah Farrakhan, I think about sitting over the years at dinner tables and in the room with her, and the serenity, the comfort. You know, she's not only a helpmeet to him, she's a helpmeet to us.
That's right.
And I mean that literally. Literally, I have never been in her presence and gone away and she didn't give me some assistance. And sometimes I remember having a little fiasco on the rostrum. Wasn't that long ago. Because you're not going to get up there, as Sister Donna knows, you're not going to get up on that rostrum too many times without saying or doing something wrong, or making a mistake. And because that is divine, and you're talking to the people of God, you have to constantly be very careful. So we had a little issue with the situation on a particular Sunday. And when I came off the rostrum, I was in the back behind it, and I got a phone call. And it was that same quiet, that when the minister calls you, there's this quietness that comes ahead of his voice. And then you hear him. Well, that same quietness came, and the voice said, "This is Sister Farrakhan." And I felt the same faint dizziness. And she gave me the same wisdom and guidance that he would give. And she did it in such a kind, merciful way that I was able to handle it. And I say of Mother Khadijah and Minister Farrakhan, I have never known people who know how to correct a suffering people. We are so insecure. We are all in pain. Don't ever think because you see us up here or on a rostrum that we don't have the same insecurities, that our personal lives are not in a shambles too.
That's right.
But as Sister Aisha says about going out and testifying, it may not be with words. Just like I said, I didn't necessarily want to be on a rostrum, but that's where I ended up for the moment. Your ministry does not necessarily have to be on a rostrum.
That's right.
You know what your ministry is? Your ministry is your sphere and growing in power in your sphere so that you master whatever, because every arena in life is meant to manifest Allah. Without going too deep into it, Sister Betsy Jean Farrakhan recently showed me the divinity of the worm, the literal worm. And when she comes before you, when you learn in the very near future about what the worm really does and what the worm means to Allah and how Allah utilizes the worm for you and I, then how could you think of yourself that you do not carry weight?
Good point.
You see, and so to me, our biggest fault, us, he said idle talk. We need to talk about Islam day and night to each other, to strengthen each other. In more than 30 years, I have never heard the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan engage in idle talk. Nothing he says is without significance. Everything he says facilitates Allah's will. But our biggest fault right now is we are looking outward too much. We are looking at each other. We think one another, and then the brothers and sisters out there are impediments to our own growth. But if Allah and His Christ are real, either they are or they aren't. As Sister said, it's time for a decision. And if this man in our midst, if he is who we say we are certain he is, then how could you not have power? Why would Allah bring us to this time and surround him with us, and we are not, as Mother Tynetta calls, God scientists as well? The minister said, man is an underdeveloped God. And so if anything I wish for of the past, but not the past, the present, is that I come up off of this is me, Ava, procrastination. I put off until tomorrow what I should be doing today. And I'm so inspired and motivated by this event to move more quickly and urgently to come into the fullness of what I am supposed to be. And I pray, Allah, that all of us are of that spirit and heart. Let's make it happen. We are God's. May Allah bless us. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Brother Reginald, and I would like to know, what has the minister's music or his musical ability, how has that had an effect on you all?
Good question.
Thank you for that question. Not too long ago, a few of us in this room were very fortunate to have an opportunity to sit and to witness the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan play live his violin. That vibration that you spoke about, Sister Mary Alice, I felt that I was about to levitate out of my chair. I had to pinch myself. I kept holding myself, and I felt like I could not explain the energy that I was feeling from our beloved minister. And I thought I couldn't decide. Am I going to cry? What's going on here? Because I know I seem very stern, and I look very mean, and I look like, don't talk to me. I know. And those of you who talk to me know I'm not like that. I just look that way. And I just say, as a side note, growing up an only child, that was my way of keeping unwanted conversations away from me. I was my own big brother. But I was sitting there feeling a range of emotions, and because I'm always thinking about what makes people think and what makes them act and where does this come from and why do we respond to that, I'm thinking, am I being re-stimulated? Is there something going on? But it was the God in him and the beauty of the simplicity of what he played for us. And of course, you know, when you see him, and he was nervous, and I'm thinking, really? How could you be? I'm nervous being in the same room with you, but the music had such an impact on me that I decided I wouldn't write him on the computer, that I would handwrite the minister. Now, that takes a lot of nerve, because I know that the minister sees through our words and he sees us. He sees our heart, he sees our thinking, and I remember him saying that before. So I wanted for him to know how impacted I was by what he allowed me to witness, that I put it in writing. And Sister Amila, who is here today, assists me. She saw me, I'm just writing it, trying to convey my thoughts, because the minister has exposed us to another level that we would never probably even consider. But this last time, I was completely mesmerized, but I felt, as I said, elevated, edified, lifted, and I could not explain the energy that I felt from what he was sharing with us. It was still, as you know, I don't know Arabic either, so I don't know the words in any other language to say other than it was absolutely beyond awesome. It was magnificent. So that's my personal witness and testimony to how his music has affected me. He is a man walking in rhythm. He is harmony. He is music.
Well, I don't think it's fair that I answer this question, because I get to see him when he's practicing, when he's not hitting the right notes, or when he practices at maybe from 3 to 5 in the morning, maybe somewhere in there, and you might be awakened to a sound. It may be the A tone, it may be some other tone, but he has a silent violin now. But I have to say, I don't know how he feels when he walks and comes among us. He's vilified by the press. He's vilified by us because we don't understand, either from our lack of knowledge or whatever. And so when he plays his music, I feel like it's an escape, because I'm just Mrs. Waterworks today.
That's all right.
Unlike most of us, when I'm tired, I work long hours. And I get tired. And I want to take a vacation. I want to go away any chance I get. I'm ready to just jump on a plane and go somewhere, see palm trees or the sand, the beach, the water, feel the sun on my face. But I look at him. He goes nowhere. He's a prisoner in his own home. Some of us, we may be jealous. You come up to the farm, you see some palatial land, you see, a horse or two running around, or you see a swimming pool. I don't think he's ever been in the pool once. He has a tennis court. He doesn't even play. But, I can't understand this. Because I know what I go through on a personal level, and how I feel, and the tensions I feel, and how I want to escape. He doesn't have that. I don't see him engage in that. No. Some of us, we take family vacations, we get everybody up. I've been on one vacation with my father, one, and I'm 50. And the only reason why I was on that vacation is because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave that vacation to my father. Otherwise, he would not have taken the vacation. So every day that he lives, he's the supreme workaholic. I don't know anybody on this planet that I think works as hard as this man. He doesn't sleep very much. I think he may average 3 hours in a 24-hour period. It's unreal. I'm a nurse. I know about drugs. And I'm like, what drug is this man on that he can just keep going like an ever-ready battery? And he's just going and going. So some of us who work for him or work with him, we're up close and personal with him. He may seem kind of like a taskmaster because he's so driven.
Yeah, he is driven.
He's so driven. It is unreal. And he's 30 years or plus my senior, and he has the energy of someone younger than myself. He's very driven. And so when I hear his music, I get a good feeling inside because I'm wondering, where's he going on that journey? Because he goes nowhere in this journey. And you know, like on earth, he's locked in his own prison. So his music, I listen and I watch him play because he gets lost in that moment. And I wonder, where are you? Where are you now? What are you seeing? And that's what it does to me. That's where it takes me.
We'll take.
I would like to give a second motion to what Sister Fatimah said, because oftentimes I watch the minister plays his music, and sometimes when the world gets him angry, that's his only consolation, is his violin. He goes in and play, and he works off frustration, he works off sadness, and I can hear it when he's playing. But also when he plays, I get a sense of, since we don't have what it takes, how do you console a man of God where God puts so much on him? How can you console him? You can't give him anything that the God hasn't given him, but his plight, we cannot carry it. So when I see him go and play his violin, it feels good even if he's just tuning out his violin, because I know that's his moment away, his moment of consolation. So his music plays an important role in my life. When I see him in the discipline that he applies to the music, it's the same discipline that he applies into our resurrection. So his music is very comforting to me. So I love to hear him play because I know that's a way he gets away from things, and he has his moment, because otherwise he doesn't have it. I've watched this man go on a vacation among some of us. The E-team went on a vacation, 2 weeks vacation, did not enjoy one moment of it. He was depressed. Who goes away and had everything at their feet and then get depressed? So we don't have his plight. So his music is always good to hear. It's always comforting to me.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaykum salam.
This question is directed to Sister Ava and all those that would like to expound. Our beloved leader, teacher, and guide, the Most Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, has taken out of his time and his experience to write self-improvement, the basis of community development. And each study guide represents a level of transformation, because Islam is mathematics and mathematics is Islam. And our beloved sister also opened up most of the study guides with her explanation and comments. But the study guides are so serious, and if we take the study guides from number 1, 2, 3, 4, each one is a step and level to the transformation of the mind of Almighty God Allah. And we really have to take this serious because these are Minister Farrakhan's, this is his inspiration and his revelation. Master Fatimah Muhammad left us the supreme wisdom answers, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad left us the supreme wisdom questions, Master Fatimah Muhammad, and the messenger left us the answers. Well, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has wrote the self-improvement, the basis of community development. As Sister Ava said, we need to focus on self. Right. And if we go through these steps, one, obtaining knowledge, because civilization is one having knowledge,
right,
wisdom, understanding, culture, and refinement, not as savage, but in the pursuit of happiness. So if we take number 1, which is knowledge,
right,
and obtain that knowledge by studying it and drinking it, as Surah say 5.
You have your question, sister? I know you're full.
I
know you're full.
My
question
is, Sister
Thank you.
Ava, could you please expound on the importance of the study guides and the transformation that we as individuals have to be responsible for, and then Ms. Farrakhan can see the stars that he wants. Thank you. Allahu Akbar.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. And I'm gonna be brief because I know we're at the end. When the minister had his vision-like experience on the wheel, that was in September of 1985. The first study guide that was issued was in December of 1986, based on a speech that he delivered in Phoenix, Arizona in September as well. 1 year later, I think 1 year and 4 days, September 21st, 1986, by that title, Self-Improvement, the Basis for Community Development. So as the decades have passed, because I'm looking retrospectively, what I've seen now is that there are statements, divine principles that are contained and were hidden in that speech. The minister looks to us like a speaker, an orator, a lecturer, but that is the mechanism that Allah has chosen to reintroduce himself to us after hiding himself from us for 66 trillion years. Because when Master Fatimah Muhammad came, he devoted his time here to being with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and raising that one man and depositing that supreme wisdom in him. And then when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's divinity grew to the point where there was almost a disconnect between the people and that man, as that man grows in divinity, and the Holy Quran says the sun moves on to its destination. It's up to us to stay out in the sun to capture the sunlight. I didn't see any of this then. All I know is that there came a time when, functioning as his administrative assistant, Minister Farrakhan said to me, and it goes to the humility that the sisters have spoken of, he had an intention of bringing together a group of people, scholars, people in the nation, people who study, to give the believers, always give. It's all he ever talks about. It's all he ever does is give, and what he wants to give. And how are the believers? What is the spirit of the believers? The people, constantly. And so he expressed an intention to give a study guide, a study course to help us. And he kept talking about calling this meeting, and he didn't. And then one day he said, well, you know, sister, there's something heavy on my mind. that I need to give the believers. So I'm going to go ahead and give you some notes. Even as we begin to start putting together this list of people, it was like he was trying his best to pull together this group, and he couldn't do it because it wasn't meant for a group. Allah and his Christ had put this in him, and now it was time to come out. And that's when he began dictating to me. The first thing was the letter, the introductory letter. And I'm not going to keep going, but I just have to say that, and I mentioned this before, the minister's command of language is so incredibly profound that for the most part, when he will dictate a letter or a study guide, especially the early ones, they require no editing. Usually oral expression requires refinement when it becomes a written word. But those letters in particular that you see, his letters to the believers, came directly from him the exact way you are reading them. This is how he speaks. I've never heard him speak in loose, casual, crude language.
That's right. That's right.
He doesn't have a self that he manufactures for settings.
Right.
And you here see his family bearing witness. He does not this is who he is.
That's right.
And what he gives us when he steps out on that rostrum, and Sister Mary Alice said, no matter how many years go by, how many times he teaches, there's always something fresh, always something new, always something different, always more depth. But he doesn't go in some secret vault and hold from us anything. He doesn't teach anything he didn't give us. And it amazes me that sometimes I'll be in settings and he'll make a statement, and some of his ministers or different people will say, wow, ooh. And I'm sitting there saying, he wrote that in 1992 in the study guides or in a letter. But that course of study is the process of resurrection that is written of in the scripture. You and I have the power. We're not going to be called up out of a grave. We're already in a grave. We're dead, but we're walking around and talking. Allah can and will and is awakening us to our true self, which is a God, but the process by which that happens is in our hands. And it's in that study course called Self-Improvement, the basis for community development. For example, one divine principle and mathematical doctrine, where he says there is a difficulty factor attached to everything of value. The greater the value, the greater the difficulty factor. That's a mathematical formula that if we follow in life, we will become powerful.
Thank you. Now, this will be the, one second. Wait, 1 second, my brother. This will be the last question, and then we'll have Brother Jesse come up to give a brief report about the response on Twitter, because you know he's been tweeting, he and Sister Ebony of the Twitter Army. And then Sister Donna, if you would like to share some words on behalf of the family, you can. And Brother Ishmael, you can come out and share some closing words if you would like.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Robert Muhammad. This is a question to any of the sisters on the panel that want to answer it. But particularly Sister Ava, when the minister made that historic designation and put you over the mosque in Atlanta, That was a historic precedent in the history of Islam, as far as I know. And what I would like to know is how do you feel, and anybody can answer this, about the historic role that the minister has played in the equality of women in Islam?
Just very quickly, I was again reading these divine sayings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That statement, again, a divine truth, a mathematical principle, where he teaches that Allah was searching for a different being. And in his search, he studied himself. And from himself, he created and brought forth the female. Now, I've been seeing that over and over again and pondering over it for a long time. But I forgot till I reread it, the last thing he said after that sentence. He said that the creation of the female solved his problem of his search for another man.
Wow.
So in that, we see that Allah, this is the Allah that created himself in and from the triple darkness of space, looking for another man, looking for, as water seeks its own level. He could not do that until he solved the problem of how to do it, and the problem was solved through the creation of female. So more than equality of women with men, it is so far beyond that. It is the power of God to recreate himself. And he can't do that except through another God. And so the woman is not an inferior being.
That's right.
That men reach down and pull up.
That's right.
It is through the female only that a man can come to know Allah, because the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who no one has taught us like this.
No one.
And he only has taught us like this because of his own pure love for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That in the study guide, he taught us that the secret of Allah's self-creation is hidden in the female. And so unless and until the woman rises to her true self, then her womb will not produce what Allah has intended that her womb produce, nor will we be able to rear the children. Because you remember, Sister Aisha, he told us recently that the MGT, he said, you have started to produce gods. These young babies and children coming out of you, they are gods, but you have yet to attain the ability to rear them so that they can attain the level of divinity they were born to attain. That is what that means to me. That was just, that appointment was simply a sign. And as you're saying, the role of the woman, that to me, millions of years from now,
That's right.
he will be spoken of.
That's right.
Because we haven't even begun to see. We haven't even begun to see the black woman. Not even, my appointment wasn't even the tip of the iceberg. It wasn't even that, because Allah had to withhold. That's how powerful you, the woman, are. And these young sisters that are coming up, who right now, you see how strong and relentless Satan is.
Come after them.
Satan is in his effort to grab her, to hold on to her. And our only way to get her is for us to be, as study guide 16 said we must be. He said opposites attract. We have to be unalike. We cannot be similar to the women of the world. We have to be completely unalike the women of the world, so that our magnetism will draw her. Not our talking and preaching at her, but our magnetism will attract her. And where she comes, the man will have to rise up to be worthy of her. Because where there are no decent women, there are no decent men. I said, don't ask me anything else. I talk to men.
Did anyone else want to make a comment to that question? No. So we're going to bring up Brother Jesse. Where did he go? There he is. Of the Twitter army.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm going to be very quick because I'm probably about to start crying again, like Sister Fatimah. But in all seriousness, to our First Lady, Mother Khadijah, and to the wonderful panel, thank you all so much. And real briefly, just to say, as we've been tweeting this to people all around the world, I've been receiving tweets and text messages that people are just crying from the tweets. Oh my goodness. And everybody is saying that they wish that they could be in our seats right now. All praise is due to Allah. So the highest demand right now is for the DVD, for this replay to be posted quickly, and people want to know where the next one is. Assalamu alaikum.
And while we're at it, let's give the final call who are here recording this historic event. Thanks to the final call, brother. Would you like to say anything? Would you like to share any words? Yes, ma'am.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger. I greet my brothers and sisters with the greeting words of peace and paradise of Assalamu alaikum. First, I want to say to my mother, Khadijah, thank you for your sacrifice.
That's right.
And as we are in this room listening to the testimonies of our sisters about our leader, teacher, and guide, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, you all bring tears to our eyes, but you're making us reflect on what we must do when we leave this room as individuals to help this great man in this mission. There are many hats that I just wanted to say that each of these sisters wear. They all wear dual hats up here. And there may be a quality that you don't know about the cook that I'm about to expose, that I think you need to know. The minister was in a foreign country, and a head of state came to sit and talk with him. But there was no one on the minister's staff or the brothers, because you know we all with the brothers are right there, the brothers are right there, and that's good. And we are proud of our brothers. but the cook that was in the kitchen rattling the pots, you know. The question was about who's gonna talk to the dignitary. He only speaks French. Who's gonna talk to him? They went back to the kitchen to get the cook. And she came out, she took off certain things, and she came out in her dignified way. And can you please tell us in that language what you said, sister, when you introduced the head of state to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan?
Say it in French?
Yes, and then you can tell us what you said in English.
It was pretty long, but when I first sat down, the Prime Minister, he had an interpreter, but the interpreter could not convey. The minister has a certain spirit, so he was just translating. So the interpreter wasn't taking it. So one time the minister asked me, so Sister Mary Alice, do you speak French? I said, mais bien sûr, you know, but of course. And he said, would you please, in your own language, I mean in French, explain to the Prime Minister what I'm trying to say. So I went on, and the interpreter interpreted to the Prime Minister, and I said to him, I said, on est beaucoup ravis de faire votre connaissance. We're very pleased to meet you, sir. Ce que le ministre voudrait vous dire, what the minister would like to tell you, c'est que il a beaucoup de, that's why I have to remind myself. Il a beaucoup de choses qu'il voudrait vous dire, mais en ce moment, il ne pense pas que vous comprenez bien ce qu'il est en train de vous dire. He has a lot that he wants to tell you, but he doesn't think that you truly understand what he's saying. So we went on and explained, because it was pretty long.
Give our cook ambassador a round of applause.
Wait. I have to bear witness to
Yes.
that moment. I was never so pleased and proud just to be your sister in that moment, because we were really overseas. You know, women, they kind of kick to the curb a little bit. But, you know, that honorable man had his staff of men to come and translate, and the way they were translating wasn't exactly what, like you said, the minister was saying, nor was it the spirit of what he was saying. So when you're learning translations, how to take Spanish and say it in English, or French and say it, you know, in English, you lose a lot in interpretations if you don't really know how to say it, or the spirit in which it meant, and the spirit in which he meant it. And when Sister Mary Alice, she had on, just like that picture, the flyer, you know, she had on her little chef hat, and, you know, but it's funny because whenever she works, she always has on like a uniform underneath her uniform. Like, it was like she was like Wonder Woman or something. Because she removed her hat and she removed, you know, the apron or whatever. And when she came out, she was so regal. so royal. She represented us in the highest form. And I was so proud. And I am so proud because she was so reflective of the spirit. As when you hear her speak, you can feel her spirit. So imagine saying that in that love language. I had goosebumps just listening. And it was so funny because when the minister would say something, you know, she had this meek, humble way to the minister, like to me, that men sometimes can't give. You know, because when you have a man so strong, it's something about the softness of a woman with respect.
Yes.
And dignity and class, and you were all that and then some. And you know how you cast your eyes down not to look in a person's eyes and be forward? All of the attributes of a Muslim woman was portrayed that day, that moment, and that time. And I was so proud, and I am so proud. Thank you.
So we really wanted to reveal that gift. We are all gifts. We are all gifts. Each and every one of you are a gift. Many are called, but a few are chosen. And if you come in as you are being called and submit your will to do the will of Allah, then He will begin to unwrap your gifts. So all I wanted to say from my heart to my sister, the seventh child of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and Mother Khadijah, that I thank Allah, Mother, that you had Hanan or Fatimah, that you did not sweep her from your womb, because she has been a blessing not only to our family, but a blessing to our nation and humanity. I thank Allah for you, and my sister knows that there is nothing that she could ask me for that I wouldn't try to give or do for her, because she is so unselfish when it comes down to our Father and your leader, that she drops everything, including her own family, which they're in the audience today. Would you please stand, husband Kamal, Brother Umar, and Brother Kashif. Thank you so much. And if Sister Mary Alice's children are in the audience, I want them to stand as well. Sister Mariam. I have these families and these children to stand because as their mother sacrifices for the cause of Islam, willing or unwillingly, they too share in the sacrifice. I'd like the children of Mother Ava to stand. Please stand. We thank Allah for your sacrifices, for what your mother is doing for our leader and our nation. And the husband that sees his wife out there defending the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. If they want death for him, what do you think they want for her? But she has a strong black man. Come forward, brother. See, Allah pairs you up just right with one another. Either you're in or you're out.
That's right.
There's no going down the side. Either you in with Farrakhan or you out. So Allah has prepared them and have given them mates. And our sister, former Captain Aisha Muhammad. Where's her daughter if she's in? We thank Allah, sister, for your sacrifice and the sacrifices of not having your mommy sometimes when you really want her there by your side. And her husband, Brother Amin. Where is... Thank you very much for your sacrifice. I want to say this because we take our families sometimes for granted, that they're always going to understand, and sometimes they don't. But I do want every family member in here today to know that we thank your mothers for their tremendous sacrifice, and we also thank you. So I didn't come here to speak. I just came to thank the believing family and to ask you to continue to do what you do in the name of Allah and His Messenger. Continue to strive to be upright, to continue to strive to be righteous women, righteous men. And this is a beautiful beginning of something very spectacular. You know, thank you, Brother Rashad.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Brother Rashad and his wife and his family. All the children here, any of Brother Rashad and Sister Erica's children, Hadia, Rashid, please come forward so the believers can see you. Hadia, please come forward. Come forward, sweetheart. These are our future. For a father who basically lives on the road with my father, willing to sacrifice his life, willing to sacrifice his family for this cause of Islam so that our people can be taught throughout the world. That's Brother Rashad, and I thank Allah for you, Brother Rashad, and your spirit, and I thank him for your beautiful wife who has held the fort down, because it takes a believing woman. Let's not make any mistake about that. The believing woman, Sister Erica, so that when you come home, you know your family's intact. Your woman hasn't been running the street, but she's standing steadfast, saying there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger, and my husband is with the messenger of Allah today. And when he returns, he'll find a believing family. Thank Allah for you all coming, and please take this spirit with you into the community. Tell the brothers and sisters who were not able to come to don't miss the next one. And may Allah continue to bless Brother Rashad and the group that put this on, as I... Brother Willie, Brother Jesse, to continue, and Sister Ebony, to continue this great work. I thank Allah for you, and I thank Allah for the family of Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum.
Before we bring our brother Ishmael up, once again, we want to thank our national staff of laborers as well. Thank you all for what you're doing on behalf of our nation. Thank again to the Final Call staff, and we want to thank everybody who helped with the organizing of this event, setting up the chairs, the tables, taking the tickets. Thank you all. So let's bring up our brother now. Assalamu alaikum. Oh, and the staff of the Salam. How can I forget? Thank you.
What a wonderful gathering this is today. What an absolutely wonderful program. I am speechless. I'm without words. But we have to always give praise and honor to Allah, thanking Allah, and we could never thank Him enough for coming to us in the person of Master Farad Muhammad and for raising up his messenger Messiah, now in that exalted position as the Christ and the living God, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I am eternally grateful, no matter how long God has determined for me to be on this earth. I am grateful and thankful to Allah and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad for their servant, messenger among us, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I greet you with the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. Wow. I have absolutely, thoroughly enjoyed every moment, every word of witness from these great stars in our heaven that bore witness to the great light that is among us that the scriptures tell us about. That great light that shines on us, that great light that is in our midst that gives us life and illuminates the way for us to go. To Sister Mary Alice, to Sister Ava, Sister Aisha, Sister Fatimah. What I enjoy, Brother Rashad, from what I heard, it was a confirmation of something that I just expressed to my staff. And that was that what is missing in our Sunday program is witnesses that can bear witness to the man that has given us life. So today was so important for the nation. Yes, sir. It's so significant in what must be done now that we can give a testimony of not only what Islam has done for us, but we wouldn't have no Islam if it were not for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and we would not even know Elijah Muhammad if it were not for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We wouldn't know Master Farad Muhammad if it were not for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So I thank you, Brother Rashad Muhammad, from the depth of my heart for organizing this program. Our thanks again to Student Minister Willie Muhammad, Brother Jesse Muhammad, Sister Ebony Muhammad. Thank you, thank you. And these women, as it already has been said, they have denied themselves because they attach themselves to a cause and to a life, a man, bigger than themselves. And these women bore witness to us and to the world today of the exquisite, magnificent nature of the man that is the root of the revelation of God to humanity today. We would not have the beauty of that Quran and the exquisite majesty of those words if it were not for the honorable, noble character of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, who is the root of the Quran. So the exquisiteness, the magnificence, the unequaled beauty of the word that we hear and the word that we read is coming from an exquisite, magnificent, matchless human being that makes the word so beautiful. It is coming from the beauty of a man that God shaped for himself for us. And of all of the women outside of this room and in this room that have denied themselves for that man, there is no woman more exquisite, more magnificent, and you will know in the days to come that we are who we are today. And this nation stands today because of the man, but because of his second self that Allah made for Minister Farrakhan in Mother Khadijah. I love you, Mom. In closing, I happened the other day to hit my phone and the scripture popped up. And I generally do not use my phone to search the scriptures. But all of a sudden I looked, Sister Ava, and I said, what is this scripture here? I read it. I said, oh, it's a good scripture. And I looked at it again and I said, oh, it is so fitting for today. And it is from the Bible. It's Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10. And it fits the running theme that was expressed today. It goes like this: for we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. We were all predestined with Christ. That's what Minister Ava was trying to get over. When a God is born, it means that gods have also been conceived and born with the Supreme Being. So every one of you, and particularly the women that spoke today, Allah himself prepared Fatimah in the womb of her mother. She was predetermined to do the very work that she has done in service to this nation and in service to her father, that is the beloved of Allah. The same is said for Minister Ava and Sister Mary Alice and Sister Aisha. They were predetermined, predestined. They are the handiwork, the workmanship of a mighty God who prepares helpers for his servant. Now, I haven't preached in a few weeks, so I wasn't supposed to be here this weekend. I was supposed to be in Memphis, but unfortunately, I couldn't make it. And but fortunately, right? Unfortunately, I couldn't make it, but fortunately, I didn't make it. Because it was better to be, no, I wouldn't say that because Minister Anthony would be offended. But I am very happy to be here. And I was sitting there and I said, I'm glad I wasn't in Memphis. I'm glad to be here. But I lost my point, Sister Fatimah. Yeah, but it was something else. It was something else. Good God Almighty. Yeah, predestination. Good God Almighty, it's happening to me now. Senior moments. Yeah, well, I'm sure as soon as I say Assalamu alaikum, go sit down, I'll remember it. But the point of being predestined with Christ. You have to know that the man that God has raised from us is to show you and me what is in us. And this is what Sister Ava's plea was all about. See, we're holding ourselves up. That Jesus is the example of the life that God desires for each of us to live. And the power that is manifested and exercised in Brother Farrakhan is the same power that is in you, in me, in us. Master Farad Muhammad said his greatest desire is that he be known. But his greatest desire is for you to manifest that power that manifests itself in him, that manifests itself in Elijah Muhammad, that manifests itself in Louis Farrakhan. When you see Farrakhan, you're looking at your greatest potential manifested in human form. So, may Allah bless us and bless these wonderful women. Oh, I know my thought now. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, no prophet or man has been written more of than Prophet Muhammad. The intimate details of the life of that man. But isn't it interesting, and this is very significant, Brother Rashad, and what this day means, because it's the women. It was the women around the Prophet Muhammad. Of all of the testaments and things that were said about the Prophet from his companions, the ones that are most cherished are the ones from the daughter, from the wives, the women of the Prophet. And of course we know, and Sister Ava did a great job today in answering some of those questions. See, that Jesus, men are fickle. Yes, we are. Men are fickle. See, the purity of the female in recognizing and honoring God without her trying to equal herself with God. Men are always competing, trying to equal themselves to that talent or gift that is expressed. But the women were around Jesus. The women were there at the most critical moment of his ministry, and mission. It was the women that were around the Jesus when he was crucified. It wasn't men. John, they say, was there, one. But it was the women that were there to console him and prepare him for what he had to do that would allow him to ascend to the Father. And his ascension meant the end of the enemy and the rise and deliverance of his people. That's why he said, let not your hearts be troubled. You should be glad that I go to the Father, because except that I not go to the Father, see, I can't end the world of Satan, nor can you be ultimately free. But the women were there to console him and prepare him for the crucifixion. And it was the women that were there at the time of the crucifixion. And guess what? It was the women that received him on his return. I don't want to be a woman, but in that, this is what I'm saying. But to take on the spiritual nature of the female is to get closer as a man and a male to God. And that's what makes the minister so special. And that's why the scripture calls the messenger servant of God a woman who's travailing. See? She carries a nation in her womb. That is what Fatima was saying. The pain of her father, who has a whole nation. There is nothing on this earth that can give her father and our minister joy or happiness or pleasure. His joy, his happiness, his pleasure comes from a people being totally liberated and delivered from the hand of the enemy. So what you see and heard today is a man that is in labor pains. A child that doesn't want to turn. It's painful. So anyway, may Allah bless us. I love you so much. And every word that you shared today, honest to God, I ingested it, I absorbed it, I digested it, and your words were food for my soul. I'm speaking personally. And you nurtured and strengthened my faith. And I was able, through your testimonies, to go back 30 years and go back 35 years and go back through all of these years to see this wonderful human being that God has blessed us with. And I hope and pray, as it has been said, that we now can step up, not in words, but in deeds. Because the man has done it all for us. He has literally laid down his life for us all. May Allah bless our beautiful mother, Mother Khadija Farrakhan. May her days and years be days of joy, happiness, and peace. And may Allah bless these wonderful women and all who bear witness to the man of God that is in our midst. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming and supporting. And thank you. We close this wonderful program with prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the world, the Beneficent, the Merciful, Master of the Day of Judgment. Thee alone do we worship, in thine aid we seek. O Allah, guide us on the right path.
the path of those upon whom you have bestowed favors, not the path of those upon whom your wrath is brought down, nor of those who go astray. Ameen. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.